Name some other welterweights in the division and let me know quick answers what you think of them. And the first is the guy who most fans think that it's going to come down to, and that's Errol Spence. What do you think of Errol?
We're going to fuck him up.
Okay, all right, that's pretty quick. Keith Thurman.
We're going to fuck him up, too.
Now, why, man? Come on, go, man. Give me
you said you're going to name some names. Come on, dog.
Right.
We already know why we go.
Same exact answer.
Hey, we already know why we go.
So what's the easiest fight? What's the easier fight?
Danny Garcia.
No, I mean between the two champions in the division.
Who?
Spence and Thurman. What would be the easier matchup for you?
To be honest with you, man, I would probably pick Errol Spence.
Okay.
I would probably pick Errol Spence as the easier fight.
I don't think anybody's going to agree with that.
See, if I keep elaborating on this question,
you're going to give too much away.
Thank you.
This podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
ThaBoxingvoice.com. I feel I'm the best in the sport, and to be the best, you got to be the best.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
To be one champion, one face, one name. His name's Deontay Wilder.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
This is the fact that I've been on the Hitler for the longest time.
110%. There's no doubt in my mind that fight will happen. There's no doubt in my mind I'll beat Wilder as well.
I'm scaring heavyweights each and every time. Don't you see it? You know, I am the most feared. And if I'm not, then I want somebody to shut me up. I want somebody to prove that to me. I want to be proven wrong. But right now, I don't feel like nobody's going to prove me wrong. Who has the guts?
Welcome back. Good morning, TBV. We are back, baby. Another edition of TBV in the morning. Get your coffee, get your L's, light it up, light it up. I woke up in a great mood, headed on over to a few websites, stumbled across more Terence Bud Crawford news. Trainer talking greasy, fighter talking greasy, writers speculating crazy. You see what I'm wearing? It says it right there, clear as day. Let me just switch it to you. Good morning, TBV. Una vez. Translated one time. You know what I'm saying? Look, Crawford looked amazing, but I'm not just jumping on the bandwagon or jumping off the bandwagon. But Terence Crawford had his first fight as a welterweight, which, you know, after watching the fight once and maybe a few times on highlights, it wasn't much different from many of his previous fights. When he was at junior welterweight, when he was at lightweight, he really made quick work of Jeff Horn. He entered there, you know, no nonsense, no jokes, dominated, got an impressive victory, and walked away with a strap around his waist, causing, you know, the public, the writers, the world to speculate and basically clamor over what they're calling the new dream fight. They're not saying super fight, they're saying dream fight. But I guess the premise of the show is, can a Terence Crawford fight versus Errol Spence Jr., a unification, can that fight be made? And I want to say that the answer is yes. The answer is yes, based off everything that Bud said after the fight, post-fight press conference. He wants the other champions in the division. His trainer thinks that Errol Spence is the easiest fight. Now, This is interesting for us as boxing fans. I hope that you guys are excited as I am because, you know, for at least a year or 2 years now, the world has been thinking that Errol Spence has been the new Gennady Golovkin, the boogeyman of the 147-pound division, and that no one wanted to give him a fight. Well, here you have a guy definitely wanting to fight him, and he's crossed all his T's, dotted all his I's when it comes to discussing this topic. He made it very clear, and I quote, "The start of the takeover." When pressed and asked what does the takeover mean, it's self-explanatory, taking over the division. Now, Crawford landed 155 punches and he threw 367. That's 42%. 42% of his punches landed, bro. No games being played. None. He steps into a class now after claiming the WBO title and moving up to the welterweight division. He becomes now only the 7th fighter in boxing history to win titles at lightweight, junior welterweight, and welterweight, joining superstar names like Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, legendary Pernell Whitaker, who I, compared him to yesterday. And obviously Adrian Broner was able to accomplish that. But right now, man, if you're Top Rank, you're Bob Arum, you're sitting pretty. You got arguably the number 1 pound for pound and the number 2 pound for pound on your stable. You have an ESPN television deal that it isn't necessarily free TV, but it's on enough televisions to be free, right? Like it's part of basic cable. So the question was posed to Crawford. Does he think that an Errol Spence fight could happen? And his thoughts on Errol Spence. First, I'll give you his thoughts on Errol Spence.
I do well with him. I believe I do well with any welterweight in the division and so forth.
And I think that's pretty much what everyone thought yesterday, that he's going to do well. Some claim that he will dominate, that he'll walk right through everyone in the division. But let me just give you some more details here, some more quotes from Bud Crawford. And these are the important ones. These are the ones that give you the indication that the fighter wants to fight. And I quote, "I just think business-wise, it has to make sense," Crawford said. "Al isn't going to send his fighters to ESPN if it doesn't make sense, and Bob isn't going to send me to Showtime if it doesn't make sense. If the fight makes sense, the fight will happen. I've already fought 2 Al Haymon fighters, so I don't think that will stop a fight from getting done. It's boxing, so anything can happen. A lot of people are leaning towards me and Errol Spence, but we never know what tomorrow holds. Hence," end quote, excuse me. "Hence why I'm wearing my Keith One Time Thurman shirt, because, we're fickle as boxing fans. Crawford had a fantastic performance, and now he's being crowned. Earl is being, dropped in the metaphorical, mythical fan rankings. Let's see if he goes through Ocampos like a hot butter knife through butter. Will things change, right? Because Ocampos is relatively unknown, and in my opinion, as unknown as a Jeff Horn. Obviously, Horn has a little more popularity due to his fight with Manny Pacquiao. And I quote, "Spence is an excellent fighter, but and this is from Bob Arum here, throwing a little shade as always. "Spence is an excellent fighter, but I only saw him in one great performance with Kell Brook," Arum said. "Maybe Spence can be at Crawford's level. I'm not saying that he can't, but he has to demonstrate that. Crawford and Lomachenko are like number 1 and number 1A in the ring. They are tremendous but different. Crawford reminds me of a great Sugar Ray Leonard in his prime, and Lomachenko is like somebody I've never seen before." So again, Top Rank sitting in a very good place. Obviously, there's interviews with David Benavidez, the brother, and the more popular brother of Jose Benavidez, and he's breaking down, how his brother beats Crawford, why he deserves the fight. But based off Crawford's post-fight, he let it be known. He said, I want the champions. Make it happen, Bob. He turned to Bob Arum and said, make it happen, Bob. Do we get the champions? We've seen Vasyl Lomachenko tell Bob Arum to do something and he get it done. So the question is, will it be done? Now, Errol Spence never shy to be on Twitter, and neither has Crawford. Crawford watches boxing just like Earl, but Earl was watching last night with an invested eye. And he let you know that he had that invested eye on the fight, because after the fight was over, immediately Errol Spence tweeted out the emoji icon of the smiley face with the little, what is it called? It's like the half glasses, like, you know what I mean? Like English dudes. I wish Robbie was on the phone, because I know on the line here, because Robbie, maybe you could hit me in the chat, production chat or something. I know, I think like Sherlock Holmes used it. I don't know. It's like, is it an optical? I don't know. Whatever. It's a one lens, and you put it on, and it's in your emojis, and it's kind of letting you know, like, hey, you're really paying close attention, because you have that lens that obviously magnifies whatever you're looking through with that particular eye. And that meant that Earl had his eye on the fight last night. Robert in a monocule, my Robert says, a la Eubank, the father. There you go. Rob always listening. He's like eagle in the sky, or the eagle eye. He's always watching. Big brother is Rob in the UK. But anyway, I quote, I would do well with him, Crawford said on facing Spence. I believe I would do well with any welterweight in the division. Right now, we're going to go home and enjoy this. We've been out of the ring for a long time. We're just happy to be back in the ring, and we're going to make up a plan and see where we go. But I assure you that we're looking for the biggest fights out there. End quote. Now we have another one here. He says, I'm happier. And this is just him discussing how he feels at the weight. And I mean, pretty much this was all evident if you watched the fight by his manhandling of Horn. It was like he had something to prove, which I guess he did. He spoke about it in the post-fight, how the world thought that he was going to be smaller, thought that he was not going to be stronger. So he was out there to prove that not only can he punch, not only did his power carry, but that his physicality, which he specifically spoke of, is something to, be threatened by. You definitely have to now plan for this when facing Terence Crawford, that you won't be able to clinch him, that he will have the strength to break free and or wrestle you off for 12 rounds, because he showed no signs of fatigue. But I quote, I'm happier, I got more energy, and I'm excited to fight in a new division, Crawford said. I wouldn't say I was getting bored at 140, but it was getting kind of dull. And now you got all these fighters at 147 that have names for themselves, and that makes it for an exciting division. It's just better for my career that I moved up. There's a lot of great names in the welterweights, and there's a lot of opportunities at welterweight. So we all know that the welterweight division historically has been boxing's glamour division, especially after Floyd Mayweather making it the money division. But you've always had names like Sugar Ray Robinson and, Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, and Oscar De La Hoya, and just others that made the welterweight division boom. Is Crawford versus Spence our new super fight? A few months ago, we were very excited for for Earl and Keith. But I'll tell you what, the general consensus was that Earl would have ran through Keith. The tide has shifted. There's a new warrior out there, and it's changed the narrative of the story. Earl isn't the invincible guy that we thought anymore. And obviously this is all speculation, but the fans have shifted. Earl was that guy until Crawford moved up. And all of a sudden, you know, we have ourselves a bit of a race to see who truly is pound for pound number one, or who is the best, right? Pound for pound, I don't even think we should bring it up, simply because Crawford has a head start on that. He's moved up multiple divisions. Earl will have to go up to 54, possibly 60 in order to combat that. But again, I'll just play the audio of the trainer. No respect for the rest of the welterweights at all whatsoever.
Name some other welterweights in the division and let me know quick answers what you think of them. And the first is the guy who most fans think that is going to come down to, and that's Errol Spence. What do you think of Errol?
We're going to fuck him up.
Okay, all right, that's pretty quick. Keith Thurman.
We're going to fuck him up too.
Now why, man? Come on, Bo, man. Give me
you said you gonna name some names. Come on, dog.
Right.
We already know why we go.
Same exact answer.
Hey, we already know why we
go.
So
What's
Errol
the
Spence
easiest
up.
fight? What's the easier fight?
Danny Garcia.
No, I mean between the two champions.
Shots fired.
And Thurman. What would be the easier matchup for you?
To be honest with you, man, I would probably pick Errol Spence.
Okay.
I would probably pick Errol Spence as the easier fight.
I don't think anybody's going to agree with that.
See, if I keep elaborating on this question,
you're going to give too much away.
Thank you.
I love that Bomac says Danny is the easiest fight at welterweight. And then when pushed more, you know, between the toughest fights at welterweight, he thinks Earl is the easiest fight at welterweight. When you have two guys as confident as Terence Crawford and Bomac, I guess my question to you guys are, should they just push for the best fights, really? Should there be no Jose Benavidez in between? Should he capitalize on his prime and his youth and go after these other champions now? Or historically, has boxing proved to us that we do have to marinate in order for a fighter to capitalize not only on popularity, but on money? I don't know. So let me go to the comment section. Good morning, my good friend and pound for pound supporter, Patreon member as well, Andre Diakinu, saying, WTF, hashtag TBV at 8 a.m. Yes, this is what happens when we have potential dream fights. Don't forget, if you're jumping into the live stream now, smash that thumbs up button. It is TBV in the morning. Get your cups of coffee. I have mines. Light up your L's. I got mines lit. Let's talk a little bit of welterweight division. Errol Spence Jr. The truth, or is the truth that Terence Crawford truly will prove that he is pound for pound number one and show us that Earl isn't on his level? According to his trainer, they are not. Coming from the chat, we got Sir Cryptus Prime. Still, you have people saying Loma is pound for pound. Shaking my head. I mean, you can't take away what Loma has done. You could only value in great depth what Terence Crawford has done and to who he has done it to. So I think they're both equally talented and deserve, you know, their equal amount of credit. And if anybody's asking for the source of the quotes, it is ESPN, one of their senior writers. So check it out on ESPN.com. You know, the machine is behind Top Rank, so you will be seeing plenty of coverage. Rodney Lloyd in the chat, Errol Spence is the future. Let's see, man. I feel like I've seen things that say that the fight between Earl and Crawford could happen as early as the fall of this year, I just don't see 2018. I mean, look, Crawford already has an October date. So, yes, Earl could be free for October after getting past Ocampos. But based off the quote, and I guess I'll go back to it, because regardless, even if Crawford sounds extremely confident, there is still some verbiage in here that you can't get around in this quote. And he says, I just think business-wise, first of all, you're leading with business. There, we have to put our antennas up. I just think, and opening quote, I just think business-wise, it has to make sense. It has to make sense. Gives me the feeling that it's more that, you know, that breaks down to, in order for the fight to happen. It has to make sense, translate to, in order for the fight to happen. So he goes on to say, Al isn't going to send his fighters to ESPN if it doesn't make sense, which translates to, Al isn't going to send his fighter to fight me on ESPN if we don't send him the right amount of money. And then he goes on to say, Bob isn't going to send me to Showtime if it doesn't make sense, which translates to, Bob isn't going to send me to Showtime unless the fight is a Showtime pay-per-view. And then he goes on to say, if the fight makes sense, the fight will happen. So it's all about negotiations. And he lets you know clearly, listen, if they can hammer out this contract, if they can get the finances in order, we can get this fight, because Al Heyman isn't a bump in the road. I've already fought 2 Al Heyman fighters. And I quote, I've already fought 2 Al Heyman fighters, so I don't think that will stop a fight from getting done. It's boxing, so anything can happen. Let me go out to my good friend, co-host, and part of the show, Rob in the UK.
Dollar DiBiase Productions.
BJ was gonna beat me, didn't you? You predict he's gonna beat me. He lost.
Why is Wilder sold out 90,000? This guy has been pro for like 8 years, 9 years. If Wilder wants some of his work, you can definitely get it on ASAP.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
Hey Nez, how you doing? You hear me all right?
Good afternoon out there, my friend. I know it's almost what, 1:22?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, just on my lunch break at work. But yeah, shout out to you up early, bringing the listeners another show.
Oh yeah, man! I had a specific soundbite for that. I forgot to lead with it.
I'm up early on the strip while the birds chirping. I had to turn my phone off. Too many birds chirping.
It's just so much good news out there. I felt like working. I couldn't wait for the rest of the team. I know I wanted to form like Voltron, but I mean, we're talking Bud and Earl. That's like, you know, it's got me really excited.
Yeah, I mean, this 147 division, obviously it's kind of top heavy, but it's only going to be popping if these guys fight each other. It's no good all these guys taking individual sort of lower class level sort of fights. They've got to mix it up together, and then this glamour division is really going to be, like you say, really exciting. But I just wonder who's really the A side in this fight, do you think? Because Crawford's obviously
Crawford's the A side. He's moved up 3 divisions. He's alleged pound for pound. He's done a pay-per-view. He has the machine behind him. But to be honest with you, there is an argument that Earl could be the A side, not for any of the same reasons, but more for the fact that he has the ability to truly touch the rest of the welterweights. Crawford, it's more of a fantasy for us. Like when you really think of Crawford Earl, you automatically think of politics. You think of Crawford, you know, Thurman, Danny, just et cetera, et cetera. It's politics after politics after politics. There's no one that he could just go fight that is exciting to us.
No, exactly. There's talk of maybe his first defense is Benavidez, and
please don't repeat that. Please don't repeat that. I heard if you say it 3 straight times, it might happen.
I know, right? I mean, who's going to get excited for that? I mean, Spence in the past has said about, I think when these two were like talking to each other on social media, he said, "Let me take care of my side of the street first."
But that's the thing. All the belts are on his side of the street. So does he really want to? Does he really want to fight Keith first, then fight the winner of Danny and Porter first? In the meantime, who the freak is Crawford going to be fighting?
Exactly. If Spence is going to go collecting these other belts,
hey. AJ did it. AJ did it. And you know what? We give Wilder hate for it. We tell him that he's not as popular. So maybe Earl is taking a page out of AJ's book and he's like, you know what? Everyone thinks that Crawford's the guy. Let me go get all the belts. Let me get the negotiation power out the way. Ness is already calling this guy an A-side. How do I become the A-side? Gennady Golovkin style. That's how. I scrape up all the belts. At the negotiation table, I have all the hardware.
Exactly. So, hopefully this fight can get made. You know, Big Al can get this sorted and Bob can sit down and they can get it made, because otherwise Crawford's going to be in some pretty non-exciting fights, I can see. So for this welterweight division to really get popping, these guys have got to start fighting each other. But everybody hit that thumbs up, show the love, hit this subscribe, share the show. You know, Nez is up early in the morning. Maybe you can super chat him a coffee or something, because maybe we'll be back later. Possibly going to be here in Cal Brook's opponent. Hopefully it's going to be on the Dillian White Parker card. So yeah, hopefully stay tuned. I'm sure another show will pop up later.
Definitely right about that. And at worst case scenario, we also have Monday every 7 p.m. Eastern time, Monday night on Patreon only. We have our other podcast, Untitled, where we kick back, relax, and talk everything. No topics are taboo. We open up. And we're going to start doing a kind of topic posts, so it should be out today so that you can give your recommendations of what we speak of on Untitled. But back to the regularly scheduled program. Actually, we're going to continue to take some calls. The co-host seems to have sparked up some people. We'll head on out to the 832-674. No producer. Matt's sleeping like a baby. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
What's up, man? This is Brandon from Houston.
Brandon, what up? Calling in to defend Earl, I
honestly,
see.
Yeah. I don't think he'll get credit for beating him. Like, you seen Earl. Earl is a big dude, and he just walks through shots like almost like Golovkin does. He'll dig to the body, and he ain't going to stay on that center line. You've seen in the Lamont Peterson fight, he can pivot off of that left foot. So I think it'll be his style is all wrong for Terence Crawford. I mean, he looked good against a guy who looked like he had, center blocks for feet, but, I don't think he does that against a guy like Earl or even Sean Porter. I mean, Sean Porter, he moves that head side to side, and that's going to be hard to time. It was hard for Keith to even time.
You know what, though? Let's talk about that Sean Porter fight, bro. You watched the fight with Crawford and Horn. He might be ready for Porter and ready for his tactics, right? If you watch Crawford, he really stood his ground. He spread his legs. He crouched down a little. He even had his hands a little bit low, but he was more in a embraced stance to be expecting that forward momentum of a Horn. He was always there waiting for it. That's why that right hook was so nasty last night. It was just like he was just waiting with all, in a nice power stance. So I don't know. Maybe he'll be waiting for Porter. Porter keeps his head down. Look, he was killing Horn with uppercuts last night. Maybe he's going to be uppercutting Porter to death. You know what I'm saying? We just don't know. He showed us some things. I get you. Horn isn't Porter, but I would like to see it.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see it. Even the DSG fight would be tight.
Yo, you know what, man? I need Danny Garcia to make the fight with Porter, and he's gonna have to win, bro. Like, Danny is in terms of the welterweights, like, people just don't believe him anymore, man. They don't believe him anymore. He needs a good win right now to get back on board, to get in the good graces of the fans, and to be mentioned in these type of fights. Like right now, if I say, yo, you want to watch Danny versus Earl, you can like, man, Earl kills him. You want to watch Danny versus Crawford? Man, Crawford beat. Like, Danny needs to be in a sentence where someone's like, yo, that's a great fight. Danny could beat that, or Danny will whoop his ass. Like, when's the last time we said Danny whooping somebody's ass? And that's not me getting at Danny. That's me telling Danny get on his bike before he let his fans forget about him.
True. But he also beat him in the amateurs, though.
He did. And I've interviewed Danny, and he feels like he's beat him twice because it's really 1-1. And he feels he beat him both times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's 1-1. You know who doesn't have a win over him, though? The other Garcia. He lost to Crawford in the amateurs, and that's Mikey. Listen, I'm going to let you go, though, Brandon. Thank you for calling in all the way in Dallas. Listen, Dallas, Texas, standing up for their champion. Where are my Omaha, Nebraska guys at? You guys are on Central Time as well anyway, man. It's only 1 hour behind. It's 7:30 a.m. You're on your way to get your coffee. TBV in the morning. We are here. You know the number to call in, 1-425-569-5241. We're talking Errol Spence Jr., the truth. Can he and Terence Crawford make a unification? From the chat, people are saying, nah, man, let them each get a belt. And it's like, wait. If they fight each other, they both have 2 belts. I mean, they already have a belt apiece. Like, you want them to get 2 more each before they see each other? I mean, that's what unifications are. I believe Loma just unified, right? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. But when he did, even when Crawford did, he fought Postal first. He only had 1 belt. No one was saying build that up. But I get it. It is the welterweight division. These are rare opportunities where a fighter can turn a regular fight into a super fight. I get it. What I don't get is why we could never get those thumbs up to equate the number of people watching live. If you could only find it in your heart to smash the thumbs up button as you come into the live stream, YouTube will realize this is the best boxing show in the world. Let's give them a studio. This way you guys would be in the audience and shit like Ellen DeGeneres or Wendy Williams, my nigga, Arsenio Hall, Bill Maher. You know what I'm saying? Show the love. It costs you absolutely nothing to show some love. Tell a friend to tell a friend. This is a boxing haven. Let's go back out to the phone lines. We're going to the 412-992. 412-992 TBV in the morning. You got your coffee, buddy? Who's this?
What's up, man? It's Jeremy from Tampa.
Jeremy from Tampa?
Yeah. First time calling live. Love the podcast, so we'll make sure I do the thumbs up. Sorry I haven't done it yet.
Oh, man, thank you, brother.
My comment is that, oh, no, go ahead.
Just saying, I thank you for listening to the show, brother, and thanks for calling in. A first-time caller, you know. We appreciate first-time callers always.
Oh, most definitely. My comment is that, you know, I love Terence Crawford, but I'm not sold on Horn. Most people weren't, so I don't really understand crowning them right now. I'd like to see him in with like some top 5 guys, hopefully some of the PBC guys like Porter, Garcia, Thurman, then eventually Spence, or however that plays out with that group of guys. Well, Horn, I feel like he just doesn't deserve the praise for defeating Horn. I really feel like anybody could beat him. Devin Alexander, Andre Berto, maybe even Victor Ortiz. So I just want to see him, test it. That's all.
Hey, man, I agree with you as far as how we value that win over Horn. I'm right there. Me and my coach got into a long, drawn-out argument about it yesterday, but I'm right there.
Oh, yeah!
Let's see here really quick from the chat. Porco with a bunch of numbers. Shout out from Australia, baby. We love you too. We're definitely happy that you're tuned in all the way in Australia, continuing to make this the #1 boxing podcast on iTunes internationally. Your reviews will be read from anywhere in the world that you put them. Each iTunes has its individual country store, so your reviews will be per country. We still receive them. Don't forget to drop those 5-star reviews. Like I keep saying, if you're jumping into the live stream, smash that thumbs up button. TBV in the morning. Get your coffees and light it up. Light it up. We're going to go to the callers. You know the number 1425-569-5241. You could add Nesta Gibbs on Skype to be part of the conversation. So my man Porco in Australia, add Nesta Gibbs on Skype. Let's chat it up. UK, let's chat it up. Singapore, DR, wherever. Let's do it. I say Singapore because we actually have a few listeners from Singapore. They've even emailed. It's amazing. We actually got some in Dubai too. Arthur, I think his name is King Arthur or something like that. I don't know if he added the King. You know how it gets out there. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's something. But back to the L. Going out to the 916-665. Good morning, my friend. First time caller. Who's this? Got your coffee?
What's going on, man? It's Kiko from Sacktown.
Kiko from Sacktown. What's up, brother?
Shit, not much, man. I just jumped on YouTube, see what was going on. I saw you guys were live streaming. I'm on my way to work. Shit, so not really got much to say. Just appreciate, the work you put it in. I know it's tough, but I like the energy, man. That's all I gotta say, man.
Kiko, well, I like your energy, brother. Listening to boxing on your way to work, checking out the live stream. Listen, hit that thumbs up button from me, from your mobile phone right there. Continue to show the love. If we get these streams to a significant number, we can do this daily. I mean, why listening to the radio in the morning? I mean, don't get me wrong. When I was out there, like my man N.O. and JD on the truck, brother, I would listen to the radio all day. But I always wanted boxing, bro. Shout out to my truck drivers, you know what I mean? Where it all started from. But like I said, I always wanted boxing. So if you guys want TBV in the morning, man, I am willing to do it. The energy is real because I love this shit. Those that can't hang,
terminated
is all I can say. But Kiko, thank you for the love from Sacktown. Definitely. What's up? Rick Fulton, what's going on? That's getting that early morning work. You already know.
I'm up early on the strip while the birds chirping. I had to turn my phone off, too many birds chirping.
773-440. I believe this is Chicago. Is it the Windy City of Chicago? Am I wrong? First time caller. You got your cup of coffee or you lighting that L? What's going on, brother?
What's good? It's your boy Scott. Yeah, man. I'm originally from Chicago. Kept my number the same since high school. I'm down in Oklahoma. Work at the Tinker Air Force Base. I'm an engineer. But I'm a boxing nerd, bro.
Well, I'm glad you found us, baby, because this is a boxing haven over here. All we do is talk boxing.
Most definitely. Look, man. Look, the Crawford and Spence fight can happen next. I think truly now we at a time that boxing needs to bring back trilogies. Like, people keep saying, oh, let the fights build. Man, the fights are already built up. The fight is already built up. We got social media. We got platforms like you. Everything, the fight can be hyped up and built up where it can be next. My thing is, I don't want to sit around and wait for a fighter to take some scrub and just beat him out the walk and just keep talking boxing debates. That shit boring to me. We already did that with Wilder and AJ. I'm not trying to do it no more. The fight can happen next. And on another note, right? That's a 50-50 fight, man. Crawford is going to have this. Crawford's not going to walk through the division. I don't think, like, for me, Horn took so much punishment. You have to question, like, the power. Is it really there? Because Horn could have kept fighting. The refs just stopped the fight. He's just like, man, you ain't gonna win. So, honestly, I don't think there's no hate. I think all boxing fans.
I mean, sometimes you got to save a fighter from himself, brother.
Yeah, that's true. And Horn has a lot of heart. And I still think Horn is if he can work on his skills, work on a damn jab, for Christ's sake. If he can work on some skills, he can still be dangerous. Because that roughhousing, he needs to work on going to the body and stuff. like similar like Peterson. But it is what it is. Crawford is the truth. And honestly, there's no debate. He is pound for pound number one. Horn is a better win than Linares for Lomachenko, hands down. But that's all I got, man. Appreciate the morning live stream. Thanks.
Appreciate you, brother.
And everybody.
Appreciate you, Scott.
Peace.
In Chicago. I know you said just down like in a military base somewhere as an engineer, but appreciate you, brother, because if you guys don't call and if you guys don't watch, then these morning streams will be worthless. And then I'll just be like sad and never do them again. Let's go to the super chat. We got to definitely appreciate everybody up with us, rocking out early in the morning and also showing some super chat love. We're going to go out to The Truth. Says Ness, showing Jersey love. I'll be in Dallas Friday for the fights. Will you be there? I will not, because I got to do that immediate reaction show. So when you see Earl go through Ocampos, you could call in ecstatic on immediate reaction, and I be here in studio. But Aaron Cantu will be traveling from LA to Texas, and he is actually relocating to Texas ultimately. So we will be having coverage, and he will be there. Holler at us. Let's go back out to the phone lines. We have 267-455. I believe that's Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. First time caller, my friend. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I want to back on, not the last caller before that, getting ready for work, man. I appreciate the show early in the morning.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
As
Can I have your name?
Eric from Philly.
Eric, good morning. All right, brother. Go ahead. Take it away.
As far as Crawford and Spence, right? See, both of them, they good with distance, setting their own distance. But me personally, with Spence being in there with Mayweather, already gaining Mayweather respect, arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest boxer to do it. I don't really see too much Crawford can bring that Earl won't adapt to. Now, as far as the overall boxing and the changing the southpaw to orthodox, Earl is a pressure fighter where he's good at cutting the ring off. So I don't know how much of actual boxing Spence Crawford can do, because Spence can box too, but he just good at cutting the ring off and making you fight in spots. Somewhere along the lines, I feel like Crawford might have to, fight instead of box, and that's where, it's going to go downhill.
I hear you, Eric. Well, we're going to have to see. I know that's the general consensus for most, is that Earl is just too big and he'll be able to walk him down, but I don't know. What if he can pick him apart and move out of the way, right? I mean, he's compared to Purnell for a reason, not just because he moves his hands. It's because he's so good with his feet. If you watch the final press conference, or excuse me, post-fight press conference, Kevin Iole of Yahoo Sports asked Terence Crawford about the footwork, and, he elaborated on it. It's important. And that's a reason that I always like Chris Algieri. And, say what you want about him. I know Matt emphasized that he went down 6 times versus Pacquiao, but he got up 6 times versus Pacquiao. He was in the ring with Earl Spence, and he has legs. That's why he can last with these people. Legs are important. It's always good to have multiple tools in the toolbox. I'm going to go to the 214. I don't know if this is a new caller or not. 214-982, first-time caller?
No, it's Gary in Dallas.
Oh, Gary, what's up, brother? I'm riding solo. How are you? You coming out for Earl because the Crawford love is strong.
I was, first off, are you wearing a Keith Thurman shirt?
Yes, I am.
Did I see that right?
Yes, I
You're
am.
like the abused girlfriend. He really loves me. He really, really loves me.
I am supporting the #1 welterweight currently in the world, the only man to be unified. WBA, WBC, one time, call him 2 times, Keith Thurman. Knockouts for life.
Couple things wrong with that. He's not unified. He only has one belt,
not
and
anymore.
He's not active.
Not anymore. Not
Right.
anymore. But he was the
Because
only
he was too
unified
scared to
welterweight.
Keith Thurman, so he quit boxing.
I mean,
he was unified, but then he got scared of Keith Thurman, so he quit boxing and he's gonna go play the flute.
You're blaming him for having
calcium. Am I blaming him that he's scared of Keith Thurman?
You're blaming him for having calcium deposits in his elbow and having to have it removed. You know what I'm saying? And recover from that. Like,
yeah, according to the American Association of Orthopedic Surgeons, that's a 2-week recovery time. He's been out for a year and a half. Yeah, so there's something else cooking there. But if I had to fight Errol Spence, I'd be scared too. So I understand where he's coming from. I mean, I wouldn't want to fight Errol Spence, would you?
Scared. Keith Thurman, he went in there with the bull, Sean Porter. He's afraid of no man. Shout out real quick to Dark Heart 68 for noticing the weight loss. Thank you, my friend. I'm working out. Yo, you know what? I've just been walking consistently as much as possible. I try to do 40 minutes of cardio a day, and it's been working wonders. So don't let anyone tell you got to run or any funny shit like that. Get out there and walk every day if you want to lose a little bit of weight. Gary, take it away.
I got a real question, and I'm not trying to be stupid. Like, this is a real question. Maybe there's an obvious answer I'm just not getting. But once you've reached the level of any of these guys, the Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, why do you need a promoter anyway, right? Like, Mikey Garcia seems to be doing fine without it. Floyd did fine without it.
Yeah, I mean, Mikey Garcia is also quoted telling Eddie Hearn that he does need a promoter, so I don't know.
The biggest fights that Crawford can make are all with Al Heyman guys, right? Keith and Spence and Danny and of course Spence, right? So the biggest fight that Terrence can make, there's a problem. Like, Bob Arum is going to have trouble getting in any of those fights. So, like, what is Bob Arum at this point really doing
according
to Terence Crawford?
According to Terence Crawford, and I quote, I've already fought 2 Al Heyman fighters, so I don't think that will stop a fight from getting done. It's boxing, so anything can happen.
Okay, then let's see it then. You know, if it can be made, it can be made. I just don't know what, and maybe I'm missing something. I'm not seeing what at this point in Terence Crawford's career, what Bob Arum can do for him. I mean, Crawford can be able to get any fight he wants.
So your argument is not whether or not Crawford versus Spence could happen. Your argument is before it can happen, he needs to leave Bob Arum, or he should leave Bob Arum because he doesn't need him?
No. I mean, I don't see what Bob. If Bob Arum makes a fight, then great. I want to see that fight more than anything. I just don't know how Bob Arum gets him closer to that fight.
But Gary, let's be realistic here. What do you mean? What could Bob do for him? Crawford doesn't need a promoter. Crawford's at this level because of Bob. Bob allowed.
I agree.
Bob allowed Crawford to step in on 8 days' notice years ago to fight British Prescott at 140. Okay, he allowed that to happen. He got the call from Cameron Duncan. Duncan was saying, listen, my guy could step in. He didn't even know Crawford like that, and he let it go down. Since then, the machine's been behind Crawford. So for you to say he doesn't need it, he's got him on ESPN. He's got him all over. He's got the world talking. Rick Ross and the actor that I can't pronounce his name, but they played Black Panther, were there to watch him. Like, superstars are coming. I don't know, bro. I think he's pretty popular.
He's already at that level.
Yeah, but
it's he's already
but listen, but that's part.
He's already achieved that.
But that's part of Bob Arum keeping him pasted on ESPN, on SportsCenter, on Around the Horn, on all this different various ESPN marketing tools, bro. It's millions of dollars in marketing invested in ESPN. This is not. I mean, a lot of people know about Gilberto. It's like, and he's not doing anything, but they know him, bro. Like, it's that marketing. Like, we talked about it yesterday. We talked about it yesterday. Like, yo, how is it that Bob made it work on ESPN, but not Al? And I think it was Matt or one of the callers, maybe Marcus from DC, that said because Bob decided to put his best on ESPN. Al was putting his unknown on ESPN so they can get known. Bob is putting his best. And those numbers are turning. These guys are getting, Crawford earned $3 million yesterday. And that's what they reported, kid.
That's true. That's a lot of money.
That's what they reported. As a challenger, as a fucking challenger, he earned $3 million. He wasn't the champ.
No, you're right about that. $3 million. $3 million is a lot of money. This, the way I was looking at it is like, what's the only thing that's stopping a Crawford and Spence fight or a Crawford and Thurman fight? It seems to be Bob Arum, right? Because Bob Arum likes to keep the money in Bob Arum.
I mean, listen, Gary, like I said, the man has already fought 2 Al Heyman fighters. And let me just give you the other quote. I don't know when you jumped in. He said, and I quote, I just think it's business-wise. It has to make sense. I just think business-wise, it has to make sense, Crawford said. Al isn't going to send his fighters to ESPN if it don't make sense. Bob isn't going to send me to Showtime if it don't make sense. If the fight makes sense, the fight will happen. And you and I both know that translate. If they want me on Showtime, it's going to have to be pay-per-view. They're going to have to pay. And if whoever they send to ESPN, Bob is going to have to pay. Meaning, if they really want Earl, Bob got to pay that money. If Crawford just got paid $3 million to fight fucking Horn, they better send at least a nice little $4 million offer to Earl to start the negotiations. Gary in Dallas, I love you, brother. I got to go. Got somebody knocking at the studio door. This was a spontaneous show. TBV in the morning. I had the coffee. I had the joint. I hope you got your high. Not off anything illegal, but off the show and my energy. Get to work safely. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/ThaBoxingVoice, plus the backup channel, youtube.com/Nesta Gibbs, so that you can get those notifications whenever we go live. Why? Because we went live today at 8 in the morning Eastern time. Okay, that's fucking 5 a.m. West Coast, about 1 p.m. UK, fucking 9, almost 10, 9 something in Australia. We doing it. We love you. Thank you for the YouTube super chat love. Thank you for the thumbs up, because guess what? Future, present, past, it doesn't matter. You can share this show and get it out there. Drop us a 5-star review. Let the world know. Tell a friend to tell a friend. TBV Podcast is where it's at. I'm your host, Nesta Gibbs. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at NestGTO. Have a great day.